and welcome to a very, very special edition of Abraham Chicks. I have the very beautiful Marcella and Diane with me, and these gorgeous women, I actually met them on an Abraham Hicks cruise. How many years ago, lady, was it? 3 years? 2 years?
That was on
the Mexico.
The Mexican land cruise in 2016.
Yeah, that's when our romance first started.
Yeah.
We met in the pool bar, sitting in the swimming pool.
Yes.
But you ladies,
we have been together ever since.
We have been in love ever since.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited to have you both here because you've both just returned from the most recent Abraham Hicks cruise, right?
Yes, we were in the Mediterranean and to the Greek islands.
Gorgeous.
It was amazing.
So we're going to get first-hand knowledge of all the good bits that you had from there. So first, Marcella, just give me a quick overview of the experience, just a general sort of outline of what happened.
So, well, for me, it was my fourth Abraham Hicks experience. I've been in others, and every time I go into one of them, I think it can't get better than this. There is only so much information that Abraham can, facilitate and give us, and it's up to us to either do it or not. Yeah. So I went to this cruise with the intention of have fun, like as always, and see my friends, which I'm so blessed with knowing now so many people. Now you walk the first day into the cruise and you're like, oh my gosh. So it's so cool. But I have to say honestly that the workshops for me were like just an added thing to it, but to make it even more cool. But I'm like, I know everything, be aligned. Everything's gonna be okay, relax, allow, I know. However, I have to tell you that it was the most incredible part of the trip were those workshops. We were blown away. I've talked to so many people in the last week that are like manifesting so many incredible cool stuff and applying so many of the things that we learned. That Abraham was on fire. It was like, what?
We love Abraham.
No, it was crazy. So those guys they were crazy good. So yeah.
All right. We're going to go into more detail of some of the things that you found. But Diane, how was the overall experience for you?
Well, like Marcella, I've been on cruises before. I've been on more than I'm counting right now, and I too, like Marcella, was mostly looking forward just to the whole experience. And the Abraham information for me is not new. So many times it was redundant, but we can always learn over and over and over. And sometimes you might hear something 100 times, and the 101 time it hits. It hits on an energetic level, on a different level, and you take it with you. And so, yeah, I'm eager to talk about what some of those were for me. But the first couple days was, like Marcella said, just getting, to see our family, our Abraham family, those that were able to join us, and being thrilled with those that we didn't even know were going to be on there. And it's a whole experience in and of itself, just to be in the energy of those like-minded people. So many, I think there was 800 or 900 of us this time, and just to be in the energy. So overall for me, the Abraham information, the last 2 days was really, really profound and helpful. Yeah.
So they did what they did the last time, where you start at one level and then you feel it just get better and better and better as the days go on.
Exactly.
That's how it felt for me. They built on it. They start really slow and somehow managed to get every question, no matter what the question is about, and build over what they said the day before or the last time. And the last day was amazing. I mean, the last day, that room of, 1,000 people, we were like, oh, what's going on? Like the energy was so high.
Crazy. So pull out some of the key points, Marcela, that came across that you were just like, wow, something that you maybe hadn't heard before.
So one of the first things in the first session, one of the first thing they started talking about was the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, right? Which we all know. Ask, source answers, then allow, and then step 4 is what's the step 4?
More allowing.
More allowing.
Yeah.
More allowing. Step 5 is get really good at step 1.
Yeah.
So they started, and they said one thing that I remember telling Diane and other friends. It really resonated with me. They said, don't get stuck in step 1. We do that a lot sometimes. We're like, okay, I know I have to ask, and the universe is gonna give me. So I'm gonna ask, and they said, just relax. You don't have to keep asking.
But that's a really valid point, because I think that, especially for people that are new to the whole idea of law of attraction and creating and manifesting, you think that you've got to keep asking, keep putting your intentions out there, but actually you're naturally putting out your ask just through your life experiences.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So they talk about that, about easing, really taking it easy into it. And not to be afraid of contrast, as they always said. Don't try to stay away from it, but be present when it's happening. Be present and take it easy on yourself. Take it easy on other people. Be aware of what's happening. They say something in this time that I've never heard before from them, and they said I don't even know what the question was, but they said, there is nothing better that two people that is under the influence getting together, like align. When you're aligned and you meet another person, right, and you get together, it's expansion at its best.
Wow. Like, you mean in terms of like a romantic relationship, or just friendship?
Oh. No, it's just two beings that are aligned, getting together, and just to talk, just to, like, when the universe put us together.
Yeah.
That's so much expansion. But there is something that is even better than that. Is when two beings that are not aligned at all find themselves in the same place. And I was like, what? Doesn't make any sense. Why you would like someone that is not aligned finding someone that is not aligned either? And then she said, and then they said, because that's when the bigger ask happens. That's a huge moment one. When two people that are completely disconnected, get together, you're in a line, making a line on the supermarket, and you're angry, and some other person comes, she's angry or he's angry, and then you start laughing. And that is not a bad thing in terms of energy in the universe. There's a huge ask, a huge rocket of desire, that they always said, that starts there. So yeah, that was like, oh yeah, it's great. It's not, it's not a bad thing when fights happen and when disagreement happen, and that
I guess did they kind of associate it with a lot of the things that are happening politically and things that are happening around you that maybe, they feel very uncomfortable in terms of it's actually creating a positive energy because of the contrast? Was any of that?
They have been talking about the frustration that we all have with what's happening in the world. And they keep saying relax, because that there is a huge desire that is growing right now, and it's on the first stages of starting. So and that could not have happened if what's going on right now wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's almost, you need that contrast to then expand into the next.
You need that big ask, that big desire to start like lighting on you. And when you don't have that like big contrast hitting you in the head, you won't get it. So.
Wow, that's amazing. What about you, Diane? What was one of the things that came across to you that you maybe hadn't heard before, or it really resonated for you?
Well, just to dovetail off of what Marcella was saying, from my perspective, same thing about relationships, and Abraham really did stress how relationships are the most expansive experiences we have. It's about relationships. And so, learning and understanding that the contrast that occurs if you're not in alignment all the time, which we're not going to be, is okay. It's okay, like Marcella said. It's not only okay, it's important, and it's necessary for everyone to be able to expand. But that's where you're going to get your most expansion, is in relationships, and that really makes a lot of sense.
It does. It's, especially if you imagine like a lot of new relationships, or you just move in together, the first 6 or 8 months you're like at each other, you're fighting, and so it's almost that, I don't know, it's almost a message of, if you could work through it and expand together, then there's so much more opportunity, rather than, and I'm probably guilty of this too, of just move on to the next one,
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's important to let go and move on to the next one, but sometimes the expansion that's coming out of it is so extremely valuable, because that's really the whole purpose.
Yeah.
So my big takeaway from this workshop was, and like I was saying earlier, I've heard this probably many times in many different ways, but the visual that they gave this time, because there was a lot of, there wasn't a real obvious theme. Many times we end up with a theme running through each workshop. There wasn't, for me, a real obvious one. There were several, and one of them was about connecting with your inner being. And they were pretty big on that this time. And really, that's the relationship that's the most important.
Good.
I mean, we've all heard this many, many times, but the visual I got this time was that our inner being is walking in front of us, pre-paving, bringing together the cooperative components, making things happen. It's an easy path because our inner being is ahead of us. It's already done. I've heard these things many, many times, but the visual to see my inner being, this is for me probably the first time I've really felt a connection with a higher source. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and, there's all of those kinds of background. You should be connected to Jesus and God, blah, blah, blah. Well, this for me to see, I mean, it's just practical. Our inner being is already taking care of things. Whatever we've desired, it's already being taken care of. Now, our job, of course, is to follow, to follow. And we don't have to get obstacles out of the way. We don't have to know when, where, how, why, none of that. Who, none of it. It's already taken care of. But our inner being, they said, is not going to turn around and say, come on, grab us by the hand and lead us to where we want to go. Our inner being is like, come along or don't, but I'm going. And so it feels to me very joined, very connected, and very not alone. And I really, really loved that.
Wow.
That was the biggie for me. Yeah.
I love that. It's almost like, and now you've put that visual in my head. It's almost like they're 3 steps ahead of you. So if your focus is just keeping 3 steps behind, just keeping in touch, keeping connected with yourself, then they're already leading the way.
Yes, and we know what that is. We know how to do that. What that means is that we follow our emotional guidance system, and when we're feeling good, we're following. And when we're not feeling good, it's because we might have taken a little detour, or we might have got off track a bit, and we're not feeling good. So that's telling us, okay, think more thoughts that are in alignment, that bring the positive feelings. And that is beautiful. So if I can share, when we were after the cruise, I was with friends, and we were walking in Barcelona down what's called La Ramblas, the main tourist street with all the shops and all the restaurants and just lots and lots of people. And Jody, our friend from Australia, she said to me, I like to play a little game when I'm walking through crowds. And what that is I imagine a warm path in front of me, and the seas of people part, so that I can just walk easily, path of least resistance. So I was like, cool, let's give that a try. And at first I was following right behind her, which isn't this interesting because that was my visual. And so now I see Jody paving the way for me as if an inner being is paving the way through this crowd of people. So then I decided, well, I'm going to, obviously try this on my own. I don't need Jody. I have my own inner being and I can create and manifest what I desire. So I envision, like she does, this warm path, seas of people partying. And I could feel, it was so fun because I could feel when I didn't trust it. I could feel when I was getting off alignment a little bit. I could feel, because then people wouldn't move away from me. They would bump into me. And I was determined that I wasn't going to.
I am not moving.
Their way, And so a good old bump by somebody, and, it helped me realize, okay, I'm not in alignment, get back on track. So I love that. And it just unfolded for me. And the other thing that I realized when I was really paying attention to these things is that I am such a people pleaser. Sorry, let me say that again. I have been a people pleaser in my life. I'm getting better and better at not just pleasing other people. I'm getting better and better at allowing myself to be pleased. But what I did notice was that I'm the first one and always the one to move out of someone's way. Doesn't matter if it's a child, it doesn't matter if it's an older person, a man, a woman, doesn't matter. I move out of the way for everybody else. And this time I'm like, well, I'm just gonna follow my inner guide, my inner being, and I'm gonna go through that sea of people with ease. And I'm gonna practice it some more. I'm gonna keep practicing it.
Yeah, but I think that's such a great analogy just for life in general, to, in any situation, to really have that trust, to just keep following what feels good for you rather than what you think you should do to get out of the way of other people. And gorgeous.
Yeah. It was one of so many incredible, wonderful experiences and such a high vibration. Just the people that we attract, and whether it's on the cruise or whether it's people along the way. And of course there was contrast. In Barcelona there was contrast at the hotel. There was contrast here, there. It's all good. And just constant reminders that contrast is important for expansion.
Yeah. And did you have kind of any very obvious experiences of synchronicity, where things were happening?
Oh my God.
Go, Marcella, what happened?
This is ridiculous. So many. Okay, I'll give you an example. So I'm flying this high vibe of my inner being is my contact to my vortex. This is how it's so funny because we all hear the same thing, but we all get it like another. Like Diane got that visual that is beautiful. Give my hand. Grab it or not, but I'll be here anyways. What I got is like, I know what my vortex is my vibrational reality right there. But in my mind, I was like, I don't know what's connecting us, right? What is that between the vortex that I have here in my next to me and me, and not my greater self or anything, but just me. He's sitting here. How do I connect? And this time around, is my inner being. That's the one who takes me from here to there. And he's always there, and he's always about, or she's always, I don't know.
You can have a he if you want.
He's a cool guy. He's a really cool guy. And is telling me, don't worry so much about the how of things, which is personally what I always like. I'm always thinking, yeah, I know everything is going to be okay, but how, what are the details of it, right? How am I gonna get the money? How am I gonna get the guy? How am I gonna get the trip? How am I gonna get my friends happy around? How? And so after the cruise was over, so my flight, I had to be at the office here. I had to be here next at 9 in the morning, and I didn't know how. There was no way. I had to get from the first flight out of Barcelona, and that flight was leaving at 7 a.m. Okay, and the ship just got to Barcelona at 6 a.m. There was 1 hour. I'm like, there's no way that I can get to my office The next flight was like 6 hours later, and I was not gonna make it, or I thought I was not gonna make it. So I get to the, I woke up in the morning, 5 in the morning, go to the gate. I mean, they opened the gate of the cruise as I get there. There was another big line, but they say, no, you come. I mean, the people formed two lines, and I just got there, and then so I was the first one on the second line. I was the first human being walking out of that ship. Got to the taxi, like, taxis are there. There are 20 taxis. Do you want a taxi? And I'm like, yes. So I got into the taxi. Another guy who came behind me, Mark, he got into a taxi too. Like, you want to share a taxi cab? Yeah. He pays for it. He doesn't let me pay for it. So I get to the airport, and it's a huge line, like incredible line. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna relax, and I'm not gonna ask how. And I'm like, okay, intervene. I'll let you do it. I'm gonna join you, and you know of the situation. I'm just gonna let it happen. And I'm there singing a reggaeton song, right? I'm like, I have my I'm singing. I'm like, I'm not gonna worry about this. I'm gonna sing my reggaeton song. I'm like, la la la. And then a guy comes to me and says, hey, come over here. Take me out of the line. I have the pictures. 1,000 people in the line at least. Takes me out of the line. I'm like, where are we going? And I think it's a security issue or something. And I'm like, taking my, getting ready to get my passport out. And I was like, he took me to that diplomat's line, which there was no line. There's just one person there, a diplomat. I'm like, I know, I'm not a diplomat. He said, I like the song you were singing.
I love it.
So I was that line. The guy was from Puerto Rico, right? So it was a Puerto Rican guy in Barcelona. It's like, I like that song. So he took me out of the line, and he talked to the officer. He's like, let her pass. I got to the plane right on time, and I got a first class seat. So I'm like, this stuff is sometimes kind of scary. It's scary good, when you really trust and relax, and even if I had not gotten to the office on time, it was okay because it wasn't a big, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, the work would get done anyways. But it's that trusting on how you don't have to worry so much about the details. In the same way, you don't have to worry about how electricity works. They say that too. So just you don't switch the lights and say, oh my gosh, how the electricity is going to go from the switch to the bulb. I don't know, but I'm going to turn it on anyways and see what. Just turn it on and let the light be over you. And
do you think it makes a difference on what the consequence is? It's like, you just said if you were late for work, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And sometimes it's easier to be in that alignment and that relaxed state of mind when it's not, you know what I mean? When it's not something really critical or urgent. I guess the mastery is when you're in a really stressful situation, how to keep.
It's law of attraction, right? What happened to me is that now thinking back, the days when I've been really stressed about something, actually really something bad happened.
Yeah, of course, because you're attracting that energy.
And I think to myself, oh, I was right. I was right when I worry about it because the bad thing did happen. But I'm right now, well, no, it's just law of attraction working. That's it. Yeah. Just like, I might be better off taking a different approach.
Yeah.
So here's another good story about that. We're in Athens, Greece, right? And we didn't have anything planned, and so we just got off the ship and we took a bus into the downtown area and the touristy area, and we had a wonderful lunch, and we were just kind of leisurely shopping. We get back to our bus stop and we discover, long story short, that we're not going to make it back on the bus. And I'm starting to panic. If you don't make the cruise ship, they're not waiting for you. You've got to get back to the ship, or you got to find your own way to the next port of call.
We had 25 minutes, 25 minutes right to the thing. So it was a little bit like, oh, what are we going to do?
And how much time did we have? I don't remember. We had to be back on like 4:30, and it was going on 4 o'clock. We didn't have much time. And then there's traffic. You never know, right? But long story short, we talked to this family. They're like, yeah, the bus isn't going to come until, every 20 minutes or so. And we've been here about 15. And should we wait? Should we not? Then a cab driver comes and bugs us and says, do you need a ride? And we're like, no, 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 we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. But Marcel is looking on her phone and checking, times and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, we ended up getting a cab and we told him, how much time we had, and he guns it and he gets us to the port in plenty of time. Traffic just started. Here's another one of those.
Yeah. Traffic started like opening in front of him.
Yeah. And I can credit Marcella because she had a lot more calm and patience than I did, and a lot better trust than I did at that point.
Yeah. But it's also, you must have had the inspiration, okay, we're going to take this taxi and this is going to get us there on time. And again, that's valuable. It doesn't just happen. You take the action to make it happen.
Right. Yeah, we have to step in. It's not going to magically just occur to us. I mean, we are a part of this. We are one of the cooperative components, and we have to follow along or not.
Yeah.
And so it worked out beautifully. And the rendezvous is over and over and over in Barcelona. Christy, another friend from Australia, I saw her as we were leaving the ship, and she said, I'm going to be in Barcelona for a day or so. You're going to be too. I know we're going to hook up. And in Barcelona, come on, people, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we spent the last day in Barcelona hanging out together. And she takes us up to her rooftop bar at the Majestic, which is one of the nicest hotels. In fact, Esther stays there. Ooh. And we have a beautiful mimosa in the morning. We got this gorgeous view of the city. We got to hang out there because we allowed it.
And so you literally just bumped into her, and you didn't like phone her to meet up, or?
At one point we did. Yeah, we were communicating.
Yeah.
Cool. So it was, and then we would run into people. So we're sitting in a cafe by the market, and Jody was with us at the time, Vivian and Virginia, and we're just sitting there having a little lunch. And all of a sudden I look out and I'm like, Dennis. Dennis is Aber. He's like right a couple restaurants down from us. So he came over and we chatted. But this is the kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like attracts like.
You're all vibrating in the same energy.
We sure were.
On my first day in Barcelona, right? I go to we went to the Sagrada Familia, and I didn't have tickets for it because we didn't get them. And I didn't get them because I had been there before, so I'm like, that's okay. I'm just gonna go on my own and do my own thing. And I met Ramona, great, lovely lady that I met in the street. And she said, yeah, I'm gonna go in the bus. You wanna come with me? Sure. We go, and sure enough, there's a huge line. Like, it was like 100 people line. And we said, that's fine. I mean, this is great. We can talk. We can, chat on the line. She was telling me, oh, I love these cruises because, I met so many good people. And she's telling me about all and she's so in the zone when she's telling me about the people that she has met. And we're walking down, get to the end of the line, and the line goes into a park, and it ends under a tree, a beautiful tree, right? And we found the end of the line. And guess who is on the end of the line? It's Lee. One of the people that she was telling me, she didn't say it by name. It's just like they look at each other and they start almost crying. And they're like, I can't believe I just met you in the middle of Barcelona at the end of the line under a tree. And I'm like, this is a 6 million people, population 6 million people city.
Yeah.
We had to be the three of us on that same spot. And then we spent the rest of the day, the three of us. And I got to meet Lee. Oh, she's amazing. And it was the same thing. She was alone. She knew what to do. Ramona was alone. She knew too. I was alone. And then you spend the day with three Abers, roaming the city. It's crazy. It's so good. So good.
Gorgeous.
And I think the big teaching is once you allow yourself to relax into the knowing that everything's gonna be good, everything's gonna be okay. You know what you want, right? Once you know what you want, and you don't let negative emotion get active so often, because it gets active sometimes, and that's normal. But if you kind of catch it before it becomes, the momentum becomes so big, and it's a skill, right? It's an art. You have to, practice, and
Yeah.
the more you do it, the more amazing things start happening, and to you and to the people that are around you, who are around you. Something really is really something.
Yeah. So was there any story in particular, from the hot seat sessions that stand in your mind where you thought it was a particularly good question or a particularly good answer?
Isn't that funny you asked? Because I was just thinking about the next thing I want to talk about was a woman in the hot seat.
There we go. We're in sync.
This young woman got in the hot seat, and she said her whole life she had been feeling pretty confident, and she was successful, by our definition of success in the U.S. And then recently had found out that this emptiness that she always had a sense about within herself was due to her mother not being able to bond with her when she was an infant. And so Abraham went off on this whole really, I think, important and helpful information about old trauma, and maybe not even necessarily blaming, but tagging reasons and purposes why we are the way we are. And Abraham was trying to get across to her that basically it's in the past. If that's how you started, but you lived your life and you did fine, and now you find this out. And now she was tearful and crying, and she just couldn't hear that wasn't something to continue to focus on. And that's kind of my takeaway from it, Marcella, but maybe you have more. And so they were really just emphasizing, and there was a hypnotist who got on stage, and he was asking, I take people back to old trauma, whether it's this life, the past life, and I take them back and I help them unlock doors so they can see what's in there and they can sort through it. And Abraham's like, that basically.
Don't open the door.
Yeah, don't go there. And are the doors being open because that's, I think the message is that's your experience. You're manifesting that people need to open these old doors. Mm-hmm. And Abraham was just saying, no, the past is the past. Keep moving forward. And your attention on it will keep you in the emotion, will keep you in the state, will keep you in the not manifesting what you truly desire. So, but the easiest way, they said, for self-love, because they were talking about, we rely on our parents for all of this. We rely on others for this. We look outside. We're this conditional world. If you're okay, then I'm going to be okay. On this condition, if you are like this, then I'm going to be fine. But if you get off track, then I'm going to get off track, and it's your job to get back on track. You need to behave such and such a way so I can feel such and such a way. And they were saying, no, it's self-love. It's coming back to that connection with your inner being. And that self-love, the easiest way, and I like this tip, to feel love and to figure out self-love is to watch others loving. And they particularly pointed out pets. They said, wow, look at a pet, look at an animal in their unconditional state of love. And you will get a sense, you will vibrate now at that frequency. You will get that. You will start to experience that yourself. And so whenever you're struggling with self-esteem, with self-worth, I'm a psychotherapist, so I'm doing this work day in and day out, and I'm helping people. And I'm not going to stop, even though Abraham says don't focus on the past, because these people don't know that yet.
Yeah.
These people that are coming to me, I'm just there to help. And when they come to me, I can guide them in letting go of the past and moving forward. But for a time, until you heal from the past, a lot of people are stuck in it. Yeah. So they're like, just self-love and be unconditional about it. And if you have trouble with that, look to an animal, look to a pet, or maybe even a child, because they're pretty unconditional with their love too.
Yeah. Well, with pets, sometimes it's just food, isn't it? You got the food, yeah. They love you.
Yeah. What are you going to feed me? When? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what about the types of things you've been manifesting since you came home? Because this is usually, and I can see that you're a bit sick And Marcela, you've been feeling a bit ill as well. So let's talk about that actually. When you've been in such a high vibration, and then you come back into kind of your real life and the integration of that. What are you doing to help the process?
So to me, I've been, so personally, I've been going on through a big shift on a romantic relationship that I've had for many years. And during this cruise, it's kind of a, so sometimes you don't want to hurt people, right? You don't want to hurt, you want to be kind, and but sometimes that goes against other desires that you want. So I've been, since I came back, I decided, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow what my true desire is, and that might cause some pain and someone that I loved so much, but I'm gonna take it easy, and I'm not going to try. I'm not gonna stress too much about it. I'm gonna try to be kind and try to be soft on him and soft on me, and still communicating and all that. But it's been, if I don't know the things that I know now, it would be a really sad situation, and I would be crying, and it's been easy. It's been easy.
So really, this whole experience being in the energy with Abraham and everything, it's brought something that's maybe been, energetically within you for a long time, but it's brought it out to the open.
That was it. Yes, it's like sometimes you have something that is a big desire inside of you, right? Like in my case, I want to travel. I realized in this amazing trip that I don't like to be home, and and that's something that I don't say too often, because I feel like I get judged by other people, by my family, by my people that I love, by my boyfriend. But like they say, why you don't like to be here? Why you're not only traveling, but I always like to be out, and I keep making excuses for people, right? Because there's something always going on, and but next month's gonna be quiet, so I'm gonna be at home next month. In this trip, I came back and said, why am I making excuses? I'm apologizing all the time to people, because people tell me, like, don't you shouldn't you spend more time with your son? Shouldn't you spend more time at work? You're taking a lot of time off work. Be careful, because you might lose your. And I'm like, yes, I know. And I came back this time and said, I'm not gonna make more excuses. I'm not gonna feel I'm not gonna feel bad anymore for the things that I want. So I am going to go out. I'm going to travel more. I'm going to, and if the people that I love and I care for want to come with me, that's amazing, and it's gonna be great. And if they don't, then I'm still gonna love them, but I'm just not gonna stop.
Yeah.
So it's a process. It hasn't been easy. It's a lot of contrast there, and with my boyfriend, with my ex-husband, with my friends, with my family, but I'm just gonna follow my inner being and what I really. It feels like the last week, and Diane knows that because we talked a little bit about it. I don't think I've ever felt happier in my life like the last 2 weeks, because I'm like, wow, like I have all the I feel like I can move out of Dallas. I can do whatever I want. I love my friends and I love my life here, but I don't like Dallas. I don't like Texas. I don't like to be here. I want to live on the beach. I want, or I want to at least want to have a chance to go whenever I want, right? And I can, because I have the means. I have a lot of money. I have, I can do whatever I want. But deep inside, I feel like people are going to judge me because of it, and I'm letting that go now.
Yeah.
So, and it feels amazing. It feels
That's true freedom, isn't it? It's really being able to make the choice just for you.
Yes.
And trust that if you're in alignment, then people around you and who you love and care for, it will be for their highest good as well. Because you can only really make a choice for yourself.
Abraham said one time, not in this cruise, but before, and something that I heard, they said, no one ever leaves anyone. I think the question was, I don't want to leave my husband because he's such a good person, right? And I feel bad, but I don't have other desires, but I feel bad. And they said, no one ever leaves anyone. What happens, you focus on your desire and they start moving away, or they start placing themselves in a different spot in your reality. But you're not leaving anyone, they're not leaving you, they're just the components of
they're changing.
really change places. And that's so liberating, because there's a lot of guilt that I feel when I move to a new thing. Like I feel like I'm betraying people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And
that's so interesting. What about you, Diane? Have you come away with any huge revelations or changes that you want to make in your life that you're now thinking, okay, this is going to happen now?
Yeah, I have a business, and I've been for years now. There's been so much contrast, and then things settle, and then there's contrast and things settle. And I've been sort of planning in my mind, and I've been not planning in my mind, because just allowing it to happen. And I think I'm at a level now where I really can. Well, what I realized is I need to love what I've got.
Yeah.
I need to really appreciate that the clinic has supported me well. It served me well through my life. And, it's time for something else. And I'm getting closer and closer to that something else. So like Marcella, what you were saying about just be easy about it. That's a great mantra from Abraham. Just be easy about it. And it's going to unfold, because I think, I have to build up the staff first. I got to get my numbers up, and I got it so I can get this much money for it, blah, 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 whatever. And what if I don't get that much money for it? I'll figure out. If I need to keep working, I keep working. If I don't, I don't. Whatever. It'll be fine. Things are always working out for us. And one of the things that Abraham said at the time was, or that at least I heard was, don't allow your don't get your desires ahead of your beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's going to create more contrast. So if you believe, like that I have to do everything to make this sale, that's way ahead of my desire. I don't have to. So,
yeah.
You wait in line and you're never going to get to your flight in time, but somehow you do. And the universe has got our back. Yeah. The universe will take care of it. So I think I'm feeling some shift and some relief from having to work so hard to create the next step in my career. Yeah. Just going to see how it goes.
Yeah. And just focus on how you want to feel and the experience you want to create, and everything else will follow.
And when I get out of alignment, because I have quite a bit since I've been home, maybe not quite a bit, but some. But when I get out of alignment, then I reach out to some of my friends. I reach out to my AIM family. Mm-hmm. And we have several groups that we stay connected. And we're doing a 3-minute daily, as if it already happened, to manifest our desires. And so that helps keep me on track. It reminds me. It's beautiful to do that. Or because I've been so sick, I'm just vegging on the couch, and I go through my pictures, and I remember, and I feel the energy of the joy and the excitement and the fun. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. And so that's my job, is to stay in that emotional frequency to allow the buyer of the clinic, or maybe there's going to be a couple, who knows, and they're going to bid, and I'm going to
or something else. Who knows? Some rich billionaire might come, sweep you off your feet, and then you'll just give the clinic away.
I might just do that.
There are so many possibilities.
Yeah, do you see that, Tina? Is
I do see that.
Okay.
I see that, and he has a brother for me.
Perfect. Well, we're going to travel the globe
We'll be
together.
traveling together. Do you remember when?
I love. Thank you for that. I love that. Yeah.
Oh, magical. But I know it's hard when you've been surrounded by so much positivity and high vibration, and then you do go back to, it's almost like you've stepped back into a reality that you don't fit in anymore, because your frequency has changed, so you don't quite fit in your life anymore. And that integration, you've got to be really, really gentle.
Yesterday, actually, my friend from work invited me for lunch, and she said, "Let's go lunch. I have to tell you something." And she told me something that is, she's going through in her life, and she's an amazing, beautiful person, so cute. And she tells me that she thinks that she's never going to be in a relationship ever, because she's, on the online dating apps, and she's been meeting all these people, and she said that they're not worth it. They want only one thing, and I want some relationship. And I'm thinking, I wish I could tell her what I know, right? But one of the questions that was useful for me, a guy, a brand new Aver, went up the stage and asked, how do I teach this to other people without feeling like I'm a weirdo, because sometimes people say, oh, that's a cult, like you're being brainwashed.
You're being brainwashed to be happy, goddammit.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, because I want to help other people who comes to me and ask help. So the first thing they said, they said, well, you can't if you're not. If you feel like someone comes and you feel trouble, because right away I feel like they're gonna think that I'm gonna say something that is gonna sound crazy. Right there, you're out of alignment. So right there, don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't even try. Just talk about, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hope it's, gets better. I know I will show up eventually. Yeah, you're beautiful. But if you are like inspired and aligned, and turn on and tap, and how do you say? Turn on and tap that, and
turned on, tapped in, something like that.
Yeah.
Turned on, tapped in.
Then you'll find the words. Then you'll find the way to help him. So I did a little bit of that yesterday with my friend, and I said, well, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about the guys. Let's talk about, what did you do this week that you really enjoy? And she's like, what? We're not talking about, we're talking about relationships. And I'm like, just tell me about something that you did this week. And she's like, well, I was with my son and went to a basketball game, and he's amazing. I'm like, how do you feel when he is it's like, oh my God, so good. And I'm like, okay, I want you to keep that feeling of that day of watching your son playing basketball. And when next time you open that dating app, think about that, and then open the app and see what the guys. And she's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And I'm like, just do it as an exercise and let me know. So she's doing it right now. Actually, this morning's like, doing it.
Right, we'll have a follow up. We'll have a follow up interview.
Yeah. So it's fun. That's and can I say something else? There was another question on the third day by a friend of mine. Actually, she got called to the seat, and she sat down and said, Abraham, I'm here to tell you that I have decided that I don't need any man on my life. You remember that, Diane?
Yeah, I thought she was funny. Marcella thought she was annoying.
I was like, I'm like, just go sit back down. I'm like, stop. She's like, I have 2 cats, and those 2 cats have been the best thing that ever happened to me. I love my cats. They make me happy. I don't need a man in my life, and I'm here, Abraham, to tell you, why do I need a man? She was there to look for, how do you say, validation. She wanted them to say, yeah, you don't follow your inner being, your inner being and your cat's inner being are all in there, and you're happy and you're done. Happily ever after. And then when she said, those two cats are the best thing that have ever happened to me, Abraham was like, really? 2 cats? That's it? Are you telling me 2 cats was the best thing that ever happened in your life? I mean, you can see, you can walk, you can talk, you can, but the 2 cats. So she's like, yes. I mean, I just don't need a man. That's what. And then Abraham goes on a rampage of how the reason why we're here on Earth is because we need other people. We need the country. We need the relationships. We need the sex. We need the physical things that they're problematic sometimes, but they're supposed to be problematic because that is how we expand. We can ever not expand. Expansion is going to happen willingly or not. If we want to stay back home and sit at it, close the windows and shut the door and put on the TV and be with our pets, expansion is happening no matter what. And at some point it's going to call us to bring us up. And so it's better to go with it than to go against it.
Mm-hmm.
So and then and Abraham is like, oh, it's like, what, saying all this. You look at the crowd and it's like, oh, and this lady is like, and she's Colombian too, so she's like, I don't care, Abraham. I'm happy with my cat. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I think, I don't know if she got it or not, but people in the room, I think, took a lot from because we don't want to be hurt, right? We don't want to be hurt. We protect ourselves. So we make like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk to that person because I don't want to be, maybe it doesn't work, and maybe it doesn't have to be just romantic relationships, like anything. I'm afraid of this and I'm afraid of that. That happens to me, like, I'm not that good to go and make that presentation, or I want to have a YouTube channel, but there's so many other people that are great that I just don't, it's not gonna be good enough. And I'm gonna have to talk to other people, to editors and people who's gonna, I don't know how to do that because I'm feeling like in my comfort zone right now. And Abraham says, no, go, do it, because yes, there's gonna be contrast, but guess what? Out of that contrast, the best things that you can, and they said, things that you cannot even comprehend are going to start happening. Things that are so good, even better than your wildest desires are going to start happening. So yeah.
And I think that's what, I mean, I remember Abraham saying to that woman, we see in the vortex, and you got a pretty cool relationship or relationships available to you. And how do you know that this is the best that you can do? Because we see something even better. And she was having none of it. No, I'm just going to stay with my cats. But like you said, Marcella, we live out of fear. And when we're fearful, it's just a negative emotion saying that whatever we're thinking is not in alignment with what we desire and what our inner being knows to be the case. So their statement on that was, the greatest expansion comes from up close and personal relationships. And so go ahead and get into them. Go ahead and take the risk and keep easy about it. Keep easy about it. You don't have to change the other person. The other person is who they are, and love them unconditionally. Love yourself unconditionally first. Everybody's heard that over and over and over. But if you love yourself unconditionally, of course, then you can love someone else unconditionally. And it was a pretty good segment.
Yeah. I wasn't annoyed with it, but it was.
But but it's so interesting, because even when you're in such a high energy, high vibration, you can still get triggered. And and the fact that when something is annoying you, it's irritating something within yourself, so, and maybe this relates even to what's now happened, Marcella, since you returned home, and your beliefs around relationships are very different. but it still gets triggered. You know, was there anything else that, not negative, but something that triggered a reaction? You know, any subjects that you sort of reacted to?
Well, I've been very sick, and you know, and more or less broke up with my boyfriend of 6 years last week. So yeah, those two things.
That's pretty big.
But it's nothing. I don't know how to explain it, but all the usual negative emotion that I should be feeling, or that you know, in the past has happened, is not happening right now. I feel completely okay. You know, right before
And usually
interview,
the sickness comes from the thoughts of what you have to do, or what people will think of you, or the judgments. It's not always about doing what you want to do, you know, and that's where you kind of become misaligned.
Yeah. There was a trip to Chicago last weekend, one of my best friend's birthday, and I was in bed and I was coughing so much, and I was miserable, and I said, okay, cold, I know you're there, I know you got me, but that's fine. You can come with me to Chicago. That's fine. So I packed my bags and I went to the airport, and I had that was Saturday, and the whole Saturday, and then I was okay during, like, my cold was there, like, but I'm having a great time. We danced till 3 in the morning that night in a Russian restaurant. It was amazing. Then when we came back home, then I started coughing, and I was really sick first. The day when I was fine, and then at night I'm like, oh, that's right. My cold is still here with me, but I'm taking it easy. I'm like, before I would be like, I'm sick, I can't go, you know. So there is so much about being easy on yourself. It's like, you know, don't get so much like don't let yourself trip on what is the now, the what the what's happening, but get excited about what's coming, and somehow that eases your now, the bad things that are happening in your now, kind of.
You have to, because you know, I love that saying, you can't get here, you know, there from here. You have to be okay here to get to there. That's how attraction works. So you've got to be comfortable with whatever circumstance is happening right now, and find the gift and find the appreciation to then attract in something better.
Yeah.
And guess what? Once you know that, and this is something that Abraham also said for the first time in this cruise, for the first time that I heard. Once you have that knowing that how things work, and you experience it, because that's what you guys say. Words don't teach, right? Then remember that I keep saying, none of the things that we're telling you here, you guys, none of the things that you hear from other people, none of the things that you read in a book, none of them teach you anything. It's your life experience what teaches you. It's the things, when things start happening to you, then you learn. Not from that. That's why, and I understood that. That's why people go through their lives. Many people that I know, like dear friends of mine, reading and going to seminars and going to, you know, and they still struggle with every day with things. And now we will, you know, we all struggle, but it's until life shows you, until the universe put it in front of you, you're like, oh yeah, I get it. Like, oh, I understand.
It's the best teacher. Yeah. What about you, Diane? Because you're pretty sick right now. You're coughing. You're coughing and spluttering over there. So what's going on? Is it such?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, are you feeling such a contrast from being away and then coming back to it all, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm so up close to it. It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame, as they say, or no, hard to see the frame when you're in the picture. See, I'm not thinking real clearly. So, and I apologize to everybody for
Yeah.
coughing and sputtering and blowing my nose. And I hope we can have a redo, Tina, because I really can be a little more on top of my game. Anyway, I think, okay, so for years I've been doing these cruises, and I have, and I'll watch how I'm saying this because I don't want to continue to manifest it, but I used to get sick on the cruise, almost every cruise. And I don't take antibiotics. I have, all kinds of natural things that I do and some equipment that I use. And so I don't really do antibiotics. But, when you're on a cruise, you don't have your equipment, you don't have all your stuff. So I would get sick, and then I would go and get an antibiotic, and then I'd feel better and whatever. So now and I hope that I'm anticipating that next time there's going to be none of this, because now I was really pretty good. I mean, we had a little stuff here and there, didn't we, Marcella, on the trip? But basically, we stayed healthy. And then I get home, and then it hits. And so that was a blessing for me. So am I continuing to manifest because I focus on that? You bet, because I focus on that. And so I do my best. They say under 16 seconds or less, shift your thinking. Yeah. Shift your thinking away from being sick on the cruise, and you can sail through it. And I do. And so I don't, I just take precautions now, and I really, really, though, focus on what my thoughts are about. So is it progression? I've made progress. I think that I got through the trip, and I was healthy and able to do everything, and now I'm, maybe I just need a little longer vacation next time.
I think that's what it is. You're not having enough fun.
That's right. I was only off 3 weeks, people. 4 weeks is probably better.
The thing that I've been doing this week, that I've been like under the weather a little bit, it has been like, I'm having fun with it. I'm telling I'm talking to my cold. I'm every time I last night I get up, it woke me up at 2 in the morning, and then at 3:30 in the morning, and then at 5, and I could not breathe. I was coughing so hard, and then after each time I start coughing, I relax and say, oh, this cough is so good. I feel the cells on my body recreating themselves every time I cough. And I'm like, oh, this is so great. I hope it happens tomorrow night again. And
you're looking for the way to visualize it. Yeah,
we're playful with it, like, oh, cold. I mean, like, I was like, cold. What? I know I'm not gonna have this cold next week. This is gonna go away, and I'm gonna miss it.
Oh, bless your heart, Marcella. I am so not there. I'm so in contrast with this shit.
Well, maybe that's the lesson, Diane. It's almost like you have to just let it go and allow it. Just allow yourself back down.
Live with it. Be present with it. Somebody told me yesterday. Somebody that I met in the cruise, who is amazing, told me, be present with when you're doing anything, even if you're sick, or if you're working, or if you're working out. Just enjoy the feelings that your body is feeling, good or bad. Just doesn't matter. It's just enjoy. Just don't think about the future. Don't think about it. The past is gone. The future doesn't exist. So yeah, just have fun with it.
Absolutely. So one final question. What do you think is creating for you now after this experience? I mean, Marcella, I know you've talked more about travel and beaches, and what do you think is in creation from the desires that you've launched after this trip?
To me, it's going to be let the fear go, the fear of judgment, the fear of but what if it doesn't work? How it's going to happen? So I need a lot of let go. It's not that I need to let it go. It's my desire.
You want to be able to.
It is, and I know it's there. It's already done. It's already done for me. It's already done for all of us. But how to allow that to happen? And the way I'm going to allow that to come into my life is by letting go of the fear of being judged by others, or
yourself, because that's the biggest one, isn't it? We judge ourselves.
Well, when we fear other people, what other people is gonna say. That's where we're judging ourselves, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
What about you, Diane?
but
Sorry.
I'm going to take it easy though. It's not
Mhm.
gonna be. I'm not gonna put deadlines to it. And it's not gonna be next. It's not gonna be next month. I'm just gonna go easy and see what happens.
Cool. Cool.
And for me, well, I'm going to be following my inner being on this journey. And one of the main things in my life right now is my career and my business. And I'm just going to follow my inner being, trusting that it has already worked out. And I will get inspiration and impulses, which it's still, that's tricky for me, but I'm working on that and listening to those. So I'm going to just, I'm going to imagine that warm path with my inner being leading the way.
Mm.
And whether it's my business or, you know, anything in my life. And that's my main focus right now. And I feel really good about however it unfolds. It's going to be just perfect.
It will be. It will be. And you could end up doing something completely different. I mean, that's what's quite exciting, isn't it? When you allow more possibility, it could be something completely different.
Yeah, because I'm the only one getting in the way. You know, I've got my own glass ceiling. I know I can do all kinds of things, and there's lots of opportunities that continue to present themselves. I mean, we meet people from around the globe on these cruises, and we befriend them, and now they're our friends, and there's opportunities galore. And Tina, you're one of those people. I mean,
yes, I was gonna.
And you know, so that might be something that's I'm going to allow, as my inner being, of course, connected me with you and my beautiful Marcella today. And you know, let's just see where it goes. It's all fun. And in the meantime, I'm having a really, really good time. And I'm healing. And I'm
Good.
I was gonna say something too. Of all the people, you know, I've met hundreds, literally hundreds of amazing souls, and since I opened myself to this and started learning who I really am. And but one of the persons that I like most shocked me, like wow, this actually can happen, is Tina. Is you cannot imagine how inspirational you are. Listening to your story is something like, wow, like you read this in books, but you don't think you can get so close to someone who's already living it, right?
Yeah, you're walking your talk, Tina, and that is
right. Exactly. That's exactly right. You are actually living it. We're talking about it, but you were actually 5 years ago. Your life was completely different, right? And you could not even, you know, you were sitting in an office, you know, thinking this is it for me. That's good enough. And today, 5 years later, well, how long has it been? 4 or 5 years later?
No, it's only been about three years ago. I sold my house. So much has happened.
Right.
Yeah. But
So,
it's just that permission slip to say, okay, I'm gonna do me, you know, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And of course, life happens along the way and there's other things you have to deal with, but the tools that we learn. Yeah.
But life was gonna happen no matter what.
Exactly.
So I think, you know, that when life happens and when we encounter pain and loss and things like that, now we're better equipped to understand why and to love more and to be easy. And can you imagine not knowing all this and then life happening?
Oh, well, you know, 5 years ago I didn't, and life was a lot harder. At least now when things happen, you can prepare yourself and you can maneuver the mental landscape a lot quicker, and, you know,
go with more ease about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Find the gift in everything. Oh, my beautiful girls, thank you so much for coming today, and with your coughs and splutters, I appreciate you. And I think the next session needs to be together on a beach somewhere.
Oh, I love that plan.
Yes.
So that's what we're pre-paving, you know, maybe for somebody's sexty or something.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It's going to be so freaking awesome. Yeah,
Our seeds are already there laying under the umbrellas.
we
Uh-huh.
are. We are with our
We're just there. We're there with our cocktails. having a great
cocktails. Yeah,
time.
but it's gonna be a beer for me. But yes.
Yeah.
It'll be so fun.
Thank
You so much. And, you know, just the wisdom and the love and the joy. You are just both treasures.
Oh, right back at
Thank
you.
thank you, because you allow us to do this.
Yeah,
Oh, my pleasure.
I appreciate that a lot.
A lot.
Spreading this word and getting that out to other people so that they can know it and live it too. Lovely.
That's my job.
Well,
You're
I
an
love you
angel.
both.
Thank you, gorgeous.
Bye,
Get
guys.
better soon, okay?
Thank you.
Love you all.
Mwah.
Bye.
Speak soon.